When one thinks to themselves, perhaps the most difficult challenge that one could possibly go through. So we think different circumstances. If we go through an illness, layaleinu, if we go through some other financial challenge, if only this would happen. But I think if we think really deep into it, I think the greatest challenge that one can possibly go through is in that which they've given over their lives for, and they've excelled in, and they have mounted and climbed every possible hill that has come their way. And then in what they've accomplished, and in what they've tried to succeed in, they get a curveball that sends them into a different realm and starts getting us to ask questions about that which we've worked our entire lives for. There's nothing more that undermines or potentially could sweep the carpet out from under our feet. What do I mean? Avram Avinu worked to get to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He went through challenge upon challenge his entire life, risking his own life, giving up almost his child's life. In gullus, difficulties, strife, fights, issues, challenges in general, family, communal, worldly, everything. And he constantly focused, giving and giving. I'm going to emulate Hashem. I'm going to give more. I'm going to give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm going to give to the world. I'm going to be meitiv. I'm going to be trying to let everyone malar T'deis Hashem. And to constantly give and give and be mevater and give more. That's his job. And he felt that was his tafkid because he's emulating the midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the Rebbeinu Shalom, so to Avram Avinu. And according to Rebbeinu Yoina, the last nisayon was not the Akedah. The last challenge that Avram Avinu had to go through was this week's Parshat. Comes Avram Avinu and Sarah Imenu, his wife, is nifteres. She dies. He wants to bury her properly. He goes over and he wants to pay some money. And he's being made an entire issue here. They start challenging, they start fighting with him. He has to pay this and pay that amount. And he has to bend down and give up of himself to some goyim. Now imagine what's going through Avram Avinu's mind. Rebbeinu Shalom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I gave up my entire life for you. I've worked every step for you. I've given up my life, my children's life. Everything for you, Rebbeinu Shalom. Now my wife dies, and I just want to bury her properly. I want to do the last chesed of Shalem. I want to do the last chesed of burying his wife. You can't let me bury her in peace. The one last thing, one little thing I ask of you. You can't let me just have a little bit menuchas hanefesh on the day of her levaya. He can't possibly. Avram Avinu is saying, give me something. At that time, I have to negotiate, haggle, be subservient, be machniya, bend myself over to these bnei ches. For what? Could you cut me some slack, HaKadosh Baruch Hu? God, give me a break. That, according to some, is a bigger nisayon, a bigger challenge than even the Akedah. You reach a point that the Meiser Nefesh, you sacrifice your life, you may be able to sacrifice a child. Crazy, crazy high levels. But something which undermines your entire existence. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I gave up everything for you. Then at the last possible moment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tests him even in that midah. You were so good. You were so giving. Now let me test you even in that. That would take most people over the top. That's why we don't have necessarily such an nisayon. But Avram Avinu had it, and he passed it. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew. It was smooth sailing from there. He was the Av of all of Klal Yisrael. He was Zeicha to all the brachas. He's the Magen Avram. We're Chaysim with his bracha. Everything, all the Schusim are totally in Avram Avinu. Because that's someone who personified Dveikus B'Hashem. He was so dovek in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that in the midah which he emulated HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu tested him, took out the carpet from under his feet. And he passed that test. Let's think about it for ourselves in our own lives. There are many times we feel, I'm a big Baal Tzedakah. I give a lot of money for tzedakah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu sometimes tests us in that we'll have a taina, someone will have a complaint about us, in that midah which we do. And you'll hear about yourself, you're not a great giver. He's not a big doer, he's not a big giver. He says, what? I'm the Baal Tzedakah. I'm not giveaway, but I do all this chesed. I try to help people. In that midah, you test me. He says, yeah. That's sometimes the highest level. When it comes sometimes to the chinuch for one's child, and we want to do as much as we can for chinuch, but somehow in that midah, sometimes in that realm, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tests us. When we know that's happening, we have to step back for just a moment and realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is coming out of the supreme love of Hashem, because He's testing us in that midah, in that which we have worked our entire lives for. And we step back and we realize that'll give us the strength, the koyach, the perseverance to go through that challenge as well and conquer it and thrive from it. May we all have, when we pass these nisyonos, these challenges, and we realize them, we first makar them, we recognize that it's a challenge, coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, coming out of His love, as difficult as it may be, because it's in the midah which we've personified or we've worked so hard in. We know ultimately that we're this close away from reaching that ultimate dveikus, that ultimate connection, that attachment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to our God, and realize that's all coming from love. And we realize that point, the same way by Avraham Avinu, that tipped it all. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give us that strength, that koyach, and all that bracha to get over that hump and to succeed further and be zeicha and to merit all the tremendous blessing and bracha that Hashem was willing to give us. Have a wonderful Shabbos.